So software is still eating modern vehicles. This is becoming the problem and the root cause of most recalls. We're going to dive into that. I'm going to show you some cars at the dealership that are kind of leading this charge. I'm going to provide some hope, though, from a software person's perspective. I want to give people some hope that, hey, this actually will stabilize. They said the 6 of the top 10 new vehicle problems reported by customers stem from infotainment related issues. How many of you have had a modern car that has infotainment problems? And this graph might be, I think, the most telling of where we're at. They say historically, the first recall or software related recall was in 1994, but the landscape is changing fast. In 2023, nearly 15% of all automotive recalls were tied to software problems. And now look at 2024, we're approaching 20% of all recalls are just due to software. Let's dive into the lot walk.
All right, I think I just found the most expensive car I've seen on a lot in a long time. The Escalade IQ, 2026 IQ Sport. This thing is $137,715. Crazy. I mean, that is just bonkers. Sometimes I just think, I'm sure it's comfortable. It's amazing to drive, right? And then when you have problems, I bet the techs don't even know how to fix these things yet. But the techs are like scrambling. We need so much software to fix these things. Same thing, I bet, on this white one. Look at that posh interior. The entire dash is a screen. I mean, that is just gonna be amazing. Oh, this one beats it. Oh yeah, this is a Sport too, $155,000. So a $155,000 car, that is $30,000 more than I paid for my first house. Amazing. It's really amazing what our economy has come to. And this is, I think, the problem with modern lending is that they probably shouldn't be lending. Like when you look at the depreciation on these cars, I guess if only the wealthy people are buying these and they just don't care about depreciation, I guess that's one thing. They know they're going to sell these and they're going to depreciate and no one will be able to fix them. But there's kind of this beyond these like $150,000 cars. There's kind of the middle, these are starting to creep up into that $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 range. But these cars over here are the middle class cars, or they'll eventually be the middle class cars. And that's the problem. The techs are struggling. We're struggling to keep techs in these dealerships, struggling to get techs that will even be able to fix these cars or diagnose them. The software is not going to diagnose everything. There's too many modules in these cars. Everything's taking longer to fix. I just saw a recent post from a Ford tech where he's talking about fixing, the dash. A perfect example is like the dash in those things. There's probably an entire ROM, maybe multiple ROMs and multiple different screens inside these cars where it's probably an Android-based system or a vanilla Android that's been modified by GM. And what they do is they take these images and they load them up with, they've got processors, they've got RAM, they've got all this stuff, they've got GPUs in them to run all this accelerated video. And the craziest part is that's just one piece. The dash is just one piece. It has to communicate with your ABS modules, your wheel speed sensors, all this stuff. Any part of this system gets out of sync, man, good luck diagnosing this stuff. It's gonna be a nightmare. They're gonna have to, I can't imagine the QA, the QC departments and the software, just the software side of these new vehicles, and just trying to keep, like if you rolled out an update to fix a bug in your dash, in the Android operating system, or whatever the base OS is of a lot of these things, probably some flavor of Linux, what are they gonna do when they have to update that? You have to retest everything. Communicates with every single other sensor in the system, the LiDAR systems, the windshield, the HUD, everything. It's like, this is why you see so many issues and so many recalls. The recalls on these vehicles, a lot of the time, they aren't like the worst recalls in the world, right? They're not recalls that are leaving people stranded all the time. They're just annoyance recalls and things that aren't working, like backup cameras not working properly, or sensors that are just dying or not communicating properly. A lot of these issues are software related, even OTA updates. That's why you see the recall numbers going up. They're not all severity of recall, like engine death. It'll be interesting to see how the car industry reacts to this, because maybe it'll stabilize. Maybe we'll have like a 5-year period where this is going to be miserable from like 2021 to 2030. Maybe we're just going to have this software misery in all of these, like these Cadillacs, all those, the Cadillac Escalades up there, all these new trucks. You're going to have this miserable software experience for a while. And then eventually maybe the automakers will kind of stabilize to where, you know, they're not updating the tech that often in these vehicles. They finally have procedures where they update in certain sequences, certain orders. They finally have the QC down where they're releasing things that are stable. That happens in software where you have this initial push, and when you release new stuff, it sucks for a while, but then iterating over it and building quality assurance processes over it, eventually, maybe 5 to 10 years down the road, we'll see things stabilize a little bit, maybe. I'm just saying, that's the only hope in these modern vehicles with all this extreme tech. And honestly, here we are back at Nissan. That's why people still buy Nissan. They're pretty low tech in comparison to a lot of these other brands. They're kind of an everything you need, nothing you don't mentality.
This is a perfect paragraph. I'm going to link this article if you want to read all of these chapters. I'm not going to read everything here, but this is a perfect way to sum up, I think, software in modern vehicles today. The growth of software in vehicle architecture has created a paradox. As OEMs strive to offer cutting-edge digital experiences, they expose themselves to risks they are not yet equipped to handle at scale. The failure to robustly test and validate software before launch. Especially in the complex environments of infotainment systems, this leads to cascading problems, mounting recall costs, and worsening public perception. I think that's where we are today, 2025. This is kind of the state of, and the feeling. I see a lot of people in the comments saying, I don't want all this stuff. I don't want all this electronics. Me personally, I like having maybe Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but we had that, 10 years ago. We didn't need all of the extra stuff. I didn't need infotainment to be in my dash cluster. I don't really care about having a customizable dash cluster. I'd rather just have kind of basic analog stuff. Give me an analog transmission gauge. Give me an analog engine coolant and oil pressure gauge. Those were fine. That's really all you need. I don't really need everything else. I would love to know, I think I know where most of the people that watch this channel would fall as well. I do like having CarPlay. I do like having Android Auto. I like having the maps sometimes when I'm in an unfamiliar area. But that doesn't need to communicate to the cloud. That doesn't need to communicate with the rest of the system. That's just directly connected to my phone. I've got old Kenwood systems in my Sequoia that work flawlessly because they're not integrated with the entire car. They're just a standalone head unit. So I think that's where manufacturers are kind of missing the boat here. I think it's going to stabilize hopefully by 2030. I know it feels like a long ways away. It might be a little earlier for some brands than others. All of them right now are just playing this catch-up game. It's going to be a little bit longer before we really see true stabilization. When I was at this dealership, it was hilarious to talk to the service tech. The service tech told me, he said they just got that van, that ID Buzz van in. It's all electric. He said for like 8 days they couldn't sell it. There was a stop sale on it. And he said it was 100% software related. He said they probably had like 5 or 6 different updates. And this is coming out of the service manager's mouth. He said, we are the proving grounds for these manufacturers now. That's what he told me. Just point blank, looked at me and said, we're the proving grounds. They don't have time to test all this stuff anymore. He said they're rolling out updates directly to these service managers at these dealerships, and then they're calling them up and asking them, hey, did it work? I mean, that's how raw this is. So everybody thinks they have, they've got their stuff together. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. They really don't. They're kind of playing catch up now. I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm in software, so this is generally how things work in software, man. It doesn't matter if it's a website launch or new desktop software or in cars. When you release new software, the true test is real users using that software, and that's kind of all that matters. And you have this flood of feedback with new software for like the first year or two, and you're scrambling as a team to fix that software, and then eventually you get it fixed, and it becomes really stable. Now, the trick is they got to get ROI on the software that they're running in cars now. Hopefully they don't iterate to, new operating systems or adding new things every single year, because they'll always be behind the 8 ball. But if they can keep generally the same operating systems, same architectures that they have now, and just iterate on them and make them better, I do think there is hope maybe by 2030 that, hey, maybe we can get back to some sort of reliability, at least on the software side. The hardware is a whole nother story. All these engine problems, everything that's going on, that's a whole separate issue from the software. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Till next time, thanks for watching.